Watching NewsX, my name is Vineet Malhotra. Services across multiple sectors were affected worldwide due to a technical problem at the US tech giant Microsoft and American cybersecurity company CrowdStrike. Millions of Microsoft Windows users were experiencing the blue screen of death error that caused their computers to shut down or restart. Microsoft said that the preliminary root cause was a configuration change in a portion of its Azure backend workloads. It caused interruption between storage and computer devices and resources, which resulted in connectivity failures that affected downstream Microsoft 365 services dependent on these connections. The company also said that it is a problem that will be fixed. Now, losing a server is not uncommon. It's a machine. But considering the impact that was seen globally, should we start considering alternatives? Maybe look towards indigenous operating systems? That is the big question that we're going to in fact speak on today. And joining us on the show to talk more about this is Sandeep Amar, tech expert and founder of PD Lab. Ajay Data, MD of datagroup.in, also joins us on the show. Dr. Sharad Kohli, economist, with us on the program as well. Khushbu Jain, cybersecurity expert, also joins us on the program to talk more about this. Kanishk Gaur, digital and cybersecurity expert, also with us on the program. Thank you everyone for being a part of this important program. Kanishk Gaur, I'll begin with you. Are you there with us? Mr. Gaur?
Yes, I'm there with you.
Mr. Gaur, in your initial perception, what do you think was the cause of this? And of course, we all have a technical reason which has been given by Microsoft, which is the cause attributed to this outage. But the fact of the matter is that something like this can be very, very dangerous, considering that aviation sector, the banking sector has been hit by this. Aren't there, fail-safe solutions that are already embedded in these technologies that should secure the end users? For the first time, a number of people at multiple airports across the country and perhaps even across the world had to use boarding passes which were handwritten. So we were kind of back in the Stone Age because this collapsed and this system collapsed. What would you attribute this failure to, and what can be the solution here, especially in a country like India, which prides itself in its tech capabilities?
I would attribute it to software eating into people's life and then resulting in failure. Today, we are building up softwares which is eating into everything, whether it is ordering something online for food, whether it is issuing a boarding pass, and we don't have systems defined which are manual. Everything is getting automated. There is too much dependence on technology OEMs. And if one system fails, there is a collapse across all other systems, which leads to such chaotic situations and people getting stranded at airports, at railway stations. I was a part of a disruption. I was at the airport and I was not able to get out because of this disruption. So what is required today is to build up manual systems in the back end, because too much over-reliance on softwares could lead to chaos on the ground.
Dr. Kohli, this would definitely be sending a number of shudders down the spine of people who are directly impacted by this outage. And like I said, this is not a snarl or a glitch. This impacts the aviation industry. Perhaps, an extension of this could also impact, the air traffic control systems. What kind of, a dangerous precedent is this setting, and what kind of an antidote should be available to something like this?
Well, good evening, Vineet. Good evening to my fellow panelists and the NewsX viewers. An extremely dangerous situation. I think the world has learned today that when you depend on technology, the technology can really, really cause trouble at times, and it can disrupt your lives. This happened across the world, from Australia to America, from Europe to Africa. We don't even have the news now that which parts of the country, which countries were impacted, although you are getting shades of news. But the fact of the matter is, all the Microsoft server clients who were using, and Microsoft, let's not forget, is one of the largest tech companies in the world. The market capitalization of Microsoft is bigger than the GDP of many, many countries across the world. So it's one of the largest company. And when you're dealing with a company of that size, there's a lot of trust, there's a lot of faith, and as you rightly said, this can not just cause. I'm coming to the monetary loss in a bit, but this can cause loss of life also. because there were many hospitals across the world who were digitally connected and who were servicing their patients, and their systems were running, whether it was admission, discharge, medication, monitoring of the patients. It was all being done through a server. You can imagine if something goes wrong where the doctors or the medical experts, they are dependent on these servers to monitor the condition of patients and to refer them medicines, and for that matter, admissions to the hospital and discharge from the hospital. It can actually lead to human loss of human lives. And you were referring about civil aviation. Imagine an aircraft is out there, 30,000 feet above the ground, and something goes wrong with the ATC, and the plane can probably be landing nowhere, or it'll probably not know where to go. So this can be a very, very dangerous situation. My own calculation, ever since this happened at 1 p.m., incidentally, I was doing a show with another channel, and the show had to be stopped there and then. I was halfway down the show, and the moment I came out, I have an economic analysis wing of my own. We were all busy for 2 hours trying to assess that what could be the monetary cost of this particular outage. My back of the envelope calculation, in terms of the number of countries, the services of banking, hospital, airports, transmission of television, everything included. My own calculation on a very, very conservative estimate, although we don't know the loss yet, how much Australia suffered, or how much Europe suffered, or how much. But back of the envelope calculation, it says that $5 billion per hour, which is, if I convert it to rupees, about 45,000 crore rupees per hour, can be the cost, although it can be subject to change depending upon what the countries come out. But we are doing a back of the envelope calculation on the basis of clients that Microsoft has, and on the basis of the world GDP that we monitor constantly. So that could be the cost to the world. But more importantly, look at the inconvenience, look at the disruption, which cannot be monetized. I cannot monetize the disruption which, for example, my previous panelist suffered because of being stuck in the airport. I'm sure he must be having a meeting somewhere, or he must be required to reach somewhere. Well, if you add those costs and the cost of that inconvenience, it could go into billions and billions of dollars for every single minute as well, which, because we don't have the data for that, I cannot manually or by any means try and evaluate that. But the fact of the matter is, now coming down to the solution, I think every company using the server, I have tech experts with me, they do have a backup. So the billion-dollar question is, what happened to the backup? That in a situation where a server fails, where did that backup disappear? Or was the backup also impacted? And it brings us to the big question, Vineet. Shall the companies, service providers, airport services, hospital, banking services, stock markets, just about anything, shall we not give up the manual system totally? Can a manual system, some kind of manual system, I won't say a manual system because you can't go back to manual system while you are in a digital world, but should some kind of a manual system backup be kept, that in case a situation like this happens, there should be a fallback arrangement. We cannot be left stranded as slaves to the technology. I think this is a classic example,
So a fail-safe.
of how
You're basically talking about a fail-safe.
slavery to technology.
Dr. Kohli, you're talking about a fail-safe, which used to be there in a number of machines
Yes.
back in the days. But the concept that was associated with a fail-safe is perhaps eluding us because everything is becoming so technology dependent. I'll come back to you, Dr. Kohli. Let me also rope in Mr. Sandeep Amar, tech expert and founder of a PD Lab Me, is joining us on the broadcast as well. Sandeep Amar, what do you make of this situation? Is this business as usual or a dangerous precedent that we should make arrangements for?
Let me give you a quick explainer on this. It started with 365 services and the Microsoft chat services, and they started having bugs. And later on, the servers and the actual machines started having the bugs. So I think there are two components to it. One component, as per Microsoft, has been identified, or it's still a developing story. But one component which is identified is that there is a cybersecurity company called CrowdStrike, and CrowdStrike, had an update in terms of a cybersecurity software which Windows machines use, and it's called Falcon Sensor. And this Falcon Sensor went rogue, or there's some update which went wrong, and that has caused all of this massive issue. And as of now, they have given a solution, which is not a patch, it's a manual solution, where you have to boot your Windows in a safe mode and delete one file in the driver directory, which they have given. There are 4 steps which are given. Now, I kind of feel that there are 3 things to learn from this. One is the quality assurance failed for CrowdStrike, for sure, the QA part. I mean, if the QA is proper, then these kind of bugs should not have been released. Second, what I feel is, my general feeling is that Windows updates are too frequent for anybody's liking. Anybody using Windows knows they get updated a little too frequently for my liking. And third is, like my fellow panelists were saying, I think that there should be some kind of methodology wherein there is a parallel Windows system wherein you can move to that. I'm not, I mean, like that sounds very speculative, not easy to do. And finally, I feel Windows has lost reputation today, and people, Windows machines are definitely cheaper, and that is why they're used. I mean, like in wide variety of uses in terms of consumer as well as professional places. I think some amount of movement to Macintosh and Linux machines may happen after this as a backup. I mean, everybody would like to have different operating systems as backup.
Okay. Ajay, what's your assessment of the situation? Windows, of course, it's specific to Windows right now. We can all argue about, Macintosh and Windows, but the fact of the matter is that both the machines can go wrong. It's not machine specific or OS specific. It also has a lot to do with being ready for any eventuality when it comes to these glitches.
Yeah, actually, what has happened is not a very regular and often case. This is one of the case which is very rare to occur. And it has happened at a massive scale because of a mass update, as the story is building about a security patch which has been updated in the system without some bypassing the processes of QA and testing. I think what went wrong and what has not been taken care, according to me, is the process flaw in updating the systems and globally. And what has happened is that, and there is no rollback mechanism which is embedded into this patch update. So there is no automatic rollback. When you have a patch automatic update, there must be an automatic rollback also. That mechanism is not built in. I believe that for high availability, disaster management, DC and DR all have gone down in one patch update, which has obviously updated, and not only the DC, which is a primary, the DR, which is secondary, and the systems which were live has gone down because of that update of the security patch. And that is where the lacuna is. It is wrong to blame technology.
We can't hear you.
Without technology, that we should have a manual process and we should not be dependent to the technology. I think it is impossible to believe living a life and future in the world of AI and robotics that we are not going to have technology intervention into the smoothness of our working. We are very happy when we have DigiYatra to get into. We are very happy when we have a e-pass in our phone. We need to get into queue. And we have to also suffer sometimes the downtime at particular day. And these things may occur. These things may happen. What we have to worry about is that can we have a more robust system? Can we have more robust patch management? Can we have a more automatic failover management? Can we have more better technology? Must give that answer, and that is very much possible. That is the way to look at. We, of course, Microsoft will get the beating, and we will have all kind of discussion. But technologies or any kind of work which we do, just because we have a traffic on the road, we can't blame the cars and the roads. We need to really make the traffic management better. And that's here what we need to do. We need to really set up the technology in such a fashion that this incident of mass scale because of a small update does not happen. And this is really very silly thing which has happened in technology world. Who are in technology, they will understand that.
Right.
That
Let me
patch,
also rope in Khushbu Jain into this
yes,
conversation.
yes,
Khushbu,
please go ahead.
Khushbu, we also need to understand that there are a lot of unsavory elements at work in the world today. There are terrorist organizations. There are flippant organizations that are looking to disrupt governments and create havoc. Through these cyber attacks. Could this also be a possibility here? Is it wise and prudent to rule out that this is not, kind of a nuisance that is being created by an outsider? And of course, it's Microsoft that's facing all the flack.
No, I think the source is pretty much clear where they have put it across that what has caused this disruption. So to go beyond for you and me to say it would be premature for us to ascertain what probably the situation would be or the cause would be at our own without understanding and without investigating further in that part. But yes, I absolutely agree with you on the part that the situation that we are sitting today, that we are absolutely digitized in every manner, in every industry. If you look into from our household to your banking, to every aspect that you look into. And the situation that has come today has made all of us realize that do we have a contingency plan? Do we need to put more security in place when it talks about digital India or digital global? Do we need more of investments to put in that aspect? Because we are trying and we are going towards making ourselves digitally equipped and making ourselves going digital, but we are forgetting the aspect that this can create an havoc or this can bring your life at standstill, and this can, this is one of the outrage that has happened, but it can be a situation where there can be a criminal activity from some terrorist groups or somebody else who can put your country or the world at a standstill for that matter. So yes, I absolutely agree with you on that part, that it can be anything and everything. One cannot pinpoint whereas today's situation is concerned. But yes, we need to move towards the aspect that we have to grow towards digitization, but at the same time, we have to understand that technology is not the only solution, and if it is, then we need to make sure that it's robust. We put more efforts when it comes to its safety and security, and at the same time we need to have a contingency plan. The contingency plan can be with the help of technology, or it can be going offline again, but there has to be a contingency plan, because none of these technologies can make a country or a situation where everybody goes standstill. So they were to take you to a next level, but not to bring you back to a level where you become helpless. So yeah, that's about it.
All right, Dr. Kohli, how do you respond to what you have heard? Everything, in fact, in this debate is boiling down to just a technical snag, but we are operating at a level where we need to understand that this may be a concern for the government as well as Microsoft, and the operative word, Dr. Kohli, is the government.
Well, Vineet, I like to pick up the threads from the last word you spoke to me, that is fail safe. So I feel in technology, there cannot be a fail safe situation. A technology is always and always exposed to such kind of snags. You can create another layer of technology. You can bring in more security. Even that would be exposed. So in technology, I think and fail safe don't go hand in hand, because technology can never be fail safe. I think what can be done here is that now I'm seeing on your screen from Las Vegas to Sydney, from Dubai to Amsterdam, I'm seeing across the world disruptions. So I think it is up to the local governments, the country governments, to probably create some kind of a layered arrangement within their country, because Microsoft is a global server. I mean, it's sitting out there in America, in Silicon Valley, or wherever the server exists. The fact of the matter is that we are utterly heavily dependent on one particular part of the world. Forget about Microsoft. Look at your Google, look at your Zoom, through which we are connected to you. Look at your WhatsApp. We are connected through Meta, sitting somewhere out there in the Silicon Valley. So I think we are heavily dependent on technology bases which exist out of America. God forsake, tomorrow something happens to America. You don't want to bring the whole world to their knees. So I think it is up to the governments, which I can't stop appreciating the sentence which you said that we need homegrown technologies. We should not depend solely and entirely on the American. For Google, we depend on America. For social media, most of us depend on America. For being connected in messaging, we are dependent on America. For technologies like Apple, we are based out of America. So I think we are living our lives literally while staying in the respective parts of the world. A major part of our life and the time is being de facto being lived out of America. So I feel that it is high time, especially country like India, where you'll be surprised to know, and I think it's an open secret, but most of these tech companies are being run by Indian brains. So I think it is high time we create a Microsoft within our country, we create a Google within our country, we create a WhatsApp Meta platform within our country. It's high time. I think that will be the best way, although I would like to add here, that will also be based on technology. So as I said, there's nothing which is fail-safe. But at least in a situation like this, we can at least quickly move our data, quickly move the systems, or quickly switch over. This is for the technocrats to answer. We can probably switch over to the local servers, or some kind of fallback arrangement can be made within the country. I think it's a heads-up call for all the countries around the world who are Microsoft clients as far as the server is concerned, that they must start immediately working on their domestic servers where traffic can be routed through Vineet.
All right. Kanish Gaur. Kanish, are you there with us?
With you, I just want to clarify. So this issue is with respect to CrowdStrike and not just Microsoft. While the other services of Microsoft continue to run, there is a Falcon server which was responsible for providing additional layer of security on Microsoft, which primarily was creating the disruption. And we found that as per this, any system which was trying to build up contact was going blue screen. So, and there is a statement which has been issued by CrowdStrike's CEO saying this disruption has happened because of CrowdStrike and not because of Microsoft alone. Since Microsoft is the software which companies are using as a baseline, it has impacted Microsoft's services. But it is a failure at CrowdStrike's end, and we have seen CrowdStrike's stocks also go down by 20%. So solely just picking it up on Microsoft, I don't think so. That's right. Yes, there are other systems from Apple, like Mac, from Linux, which have not got impacted. So it's the key learning that tomorrow, if they get impacted as well, how we are going to build up the business continuity, the redundancy, how will we ensure continuity of operations? And if critical infrastructure is getting impacted today, what is the level of operational risk we are ready to live up to? Because these disruptions could be massive. Tomorrow, power systems can get impacted because of a server not getting patched correctly. So a country can be without electricity. There could be major disruptions in terms of supply lines when it comes to ships coming in, with respect to trade happening. So we will have to build up redundancy and also have manual systems in place in case of disasters. This is one of the key learnings. So how do some of these companies build up their business continuity and disaster recovery? And countries also build up their resilience, not just to rely on software companies and vendors, but have a backup mechanism which is still operational and ensures, your cards can be printed manually, boarding passes can be issued. Today, I was at an airport and the airline was not able to issue boarding passes because the software system was not working. And ultimately, they had to switch to manual, which they were not ready. There was no mechanism for issuing manual passes, and it took a lot of time, and there was a lot of chaos and confusion. And similar issue was there across the country, not just in India, but globally. So the amount of downtime, the amount of GDP loss, the loss to the exchequer that has happened because of CrowdStrike is humongous.
All right.
Can I make a very, very quick sentence?
Yeah,
Just
quickly,
a very quick. Well, I'm not sure why my previous panelist is defending Microsoft. If Microsoft has appointed or given a contract to CrowdStrike or whatever, I think it is ultimately Microsoft which is answerable. I don't think we should be defending Microsoft for billions of dollars of loss suffered, whether it is Microsoft or some other technology. My answer remains the same. I don't want to change a word of what I said. Thanks, Vineet.
All right, but Ajay, it's not only money that Microsoft is going to be losing out over here, it's also a question of their reputation.
Yes, of course. See, technology will have to be looked back again. I think every corporate, every bank, every organization will look back to avoid these kind of incidences. So this has given a wake-up call for the whole world. Everybody who is dependent, whether you are a hospital or an education or an airline, everybody will look back. So that is one part, right? That's a part which we need to all look at. Microsoft will take its own beating, but as the life moves on, we all forget and get into our daily routine. And tomorrow we will have a flight, and we will not worry about the technology subscription, and we will continue our life as normal. The key here is the lesson learned is that we need to all have the disaster recovery and high availability. High availability and disaster recovery. Those two words are the key for any technology implementation, for a business continuity. And if we follow the rules, if we follow the guidelines, if we follow the right practices to ensure the high availability and disaster recovery. High availability is that if one component goes down, second takes over automatically. That's high availability. If everything goes down, the first and second, then we have a disaster recovery. In case of disaster such as this, what is the recovery mechanism and how many minutes and how many hours we can be up and running? These are the two things which we need to worry about in real sense. But we thinking about without technology, thinking going manual, thinking about putting the processes in abeyance is not going to help the world move further. Of course, disaster recovery may have that plan of doing something manually for some time. That's okay. But ultimately, we have to get the technology up and running, and again come to the high availability solution which serves the world. It is impossible to progress now in this today's time to think our any work, any activity without the technology intervention. And the companies like Microsoft and Apple and Google will continue to play an important role in our lives, irrespective of we built our technologies in India or not. Thank you.
All right, on that note, we're going to dip into a short break. Would like to thank everyone who were a part of this important and immersive conversation. We'll be right back.